18 months ago, Portland was dead last in the West. 21 wins. Punchline franchise. The kind of team you only watch if you lost a bet or you're trying to fall asleep faster. Now they've got a breakout star nobody saw coming. A 7'2" vacuum cleaner living on the glass. And a roster that actually fights back instead of folding by the second timeout.
As talent continues to upgrade. Shea! Shea Sharp with a two-hand ram.
So, let me ask you something. How did the Trailblazers go from "please don't put this on national TV" to "why do I feel weirdly nervous playing them"? Because it's not one thing. It's not one lucky hot streak. And it's definitely not some magical "the vibes are better" storyline. But before we start, if you love basketball and you're one of the 90% who watch without subscribing, it's time to join the NBA Inside family. Click it and let's live this season together. This is a real transformation. And it starts with the player Washington basically tossed aside like an old phone charger, Deni Avdija. When Portland traded for Avdija, the reaction was polite. That's it. Oh, nice pickup. Solid wing. Good glue guy. Nobody said future franchise cornerstone. Nobody said offense runs through him now. Nobody said, hey, this guy might turn into a problem. But the moment he landed in Portland, something clicked. Maybe it was role. Maybe it was freedom. Maybe it was finally being told, go, do your thing, we're not putting you in a box. Because in year one, he put up career highs. 16.9 points, 7.3 rebounds, 3.9 assists. Good numbers, encouraging numbers, but nothing that screams, this dude is about to turn into an all-star. Then, the second half of the season hit, and Avdija didn't improve. He detonated. Over Portland's final 41 games, he jumps to 22.1 points, 7.8 rebounds, 4.7 assists. Portland goes 23-18 in that stretch, when everyone expected them to quietly lose on purpose. That's the first warning sign, because teams don't accidentally play above .500 for half a season in the West if nothing real is happening. And now, this season, this is where it gets disrespectful. Avdija is averaging 25.8 points, 7.1 rebounds, 6.3 assists. He's shooting 47.4% from the field, true shooting at 63.7%, and the on-off numbers are basically screaming into a megaphone, plus 19.7.
Under 2 minutes remaining, Avdija crosses up, Melton drives into the lane, laid it up and in as he gets into the...
That's not nice player. That is, your team becomes a different organism when you sit down. And then you look at the league-wide context and it gets even crazier. He's third in on-off in the NBA, trailing only Giannis and Shea. Third. So if you're still thinking, yeah, but Portland's rebuilding, you're missing the point. Rebuilding teams don't have top 3 impact engines unless something shifted. And Avdija started stacking moments too, not just averages. Against Oklahoma City, he drops a 31-point triple-double with 19 rebounds and 10 assists. First Israeli player in NBA history to record a triple-double. And over his last 5 games, 31 points, 10 rebounds, 9.2 assists. That's not a role player heating up, that's a star waking up. Now here's the part that makes Portland's situation fascinating. Avdija is 24. So we're not talking about a random veteran spike where you go, nice story, see you next year. This is the age where players take the leap and stay there. And for perspective, look at Dame at 23. All-star. A season that told the league, okay, this is real. He averaged 20.7 points, 4.3 rebounds, and 5.6 assists. That was the, okay, this is real season. Avdija is basically matching that level of impact now, a year older. And unlike Dame back then, Avdija isn't carrying a roster made of hopes and prayers. He has help. Which leads to the next part of the story. Because Avdija didn't become this version of himself in a vacuum. Portland built the environment for it. And the biggest reason it works is standing behind him. A 7'2" monster who makes the rim feel closed for business. Donovan Clingan. Clingan was supposed to go top 3 in a lot of mocks. 2-time national champion. Rim protector. motor. That old school try your layup, see what happens energy. Portland gets him at 7 and basically says, yeah, thank you. We'll take the free gift. And the early part of his rookie career? Not glamorous. Buried behind DeAndre Ayton and Robert Williams III. Minutes bouncing around. Development slow cooked. And if you're a fan, you know the feeling. You're staring at the box score like, why did we draft him if we're not playing him? Then February 10th happens. Blowout loss to Denver. Klingon comes off the bench and drops 21 points and 7 rebounds in 21 minutes. And Portland looks around like, oh, okay. The next game, he starts. And he never really gives the job back. He starts the final 27 games of his rookie season. 8.8 points, 9.9 rebounds, 1.8 blocks, 1.8 assists in 25 minutes. Not flashy, but it's the kind of production that screams, this is sustainable. This season, he's been even better. 6.5 points, 7.9 rebounds, 1.6 blocks per night. But the real stat? He's first in the entire NBA in offensive rebounds, 97 total. 4.6 a game, and Steven Adams is right behind him.
He was masterful the last time the clubs met. Cross-court pass. Tip jam off a bit.
And let's talk about why that's terrifying for everyone else. Portland is dead last in three-point percentage at 33%. Dead last. So, on paper, they should be easy to defend. Pack the paint, live with their bricks, run. Except Klingon refuses to let misses be the end of the possession. He turns your great stop into, why are they still here? He turns a bad shooting night into a playable game. Against Chicago, he grabs 10 offensive rebounds and creates 15 second chance points. That's not a nice hustle stat. That's a win. And then defensively, this is where Portland's identity actually shows. Last season, Portland finishes with a top 3 defense over the final 41 games. That doesn't happen by accident. That happens when your center changes how teams behave. Klingon anchors everything. He led the NBA in contested shots per 36 at 7.6. Finished 5th in blocks per game. Drivers second guess. Floaters get altered. Easy paint points disappear. He's not just a young center. He becomes a defensive anchor. And when you pair an impact engine on the wing with a real defensive foundation at center, you get something that feels annoying to play. Now,
Randall on the edge. In the paint it comes to Gobert. Turns and twists. Klingon gets a piece of that, rips it free, and up.
This is the point in the script where you think you know where it's going. Okay, Avdia breakout. Klingon anchor. Portland is building something. Cool. But here's the twist. The one that should keep you watching because it flips the whole story. Portland's doing all of this while shooting like it's 2004 and nobody's discovered spacing yet. They're dead last from 3. Their offense should be a mess, and yet they're still in games. They're still stealing wins. They're still annoying teams with actual goals. So the question isn't, are they good? The question is, what happens if they become even average from 3? Because if you're dead last and still competitive, the ceiling is not what you think. That's when you start realizing Portland didn't stumble into improvement. They made calculated moves. They traded Anthony Simons for a 2-time champion. They bought out Aiden to clear the path for Klingon. They brought Dame home. Every decision had a purpose. And now the roster makes sense in a way Portland hasn't felt in years. Let's talk about Shaedon Sharpe, because this one's hilarious. Portland gave him a 4-year, $90 million extension, and he's averaging 18.5 points per game off the bench. Read that again. A $90 million sixth man is dropping 18 a night. He just went for 35 against New Orleans. He plays 30+ minutes while still technically being the bench guy. And he's only 22. He's also in extremely weird historical company. One of only 4 teenagers ever to put up 30 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists in a game. The other 3? LeBron, KD, Luka. So yeah, the upside isn't theoretical. This is the part where depth stops being a buzzword and starts being a weapon. Then there's Drew Holiday. When Portland traded for him, everyone assumed mentor mode, leader, voice, 25 minutes, steady hand. Instead, he's playing like he still has something to prove. 16.7 points, 8.3 assists, one of his best offensive seasons in years, 38.2% from 3 on a career-high attempt rate, and recently he dropped 27, 24, and 22 on elite efficiency. That's not veteran coasting, that's I came here to compete. And if you're on a young team, that matters. Because young teams don't usually know how to win late. They don't know how to survive a 6-0 run. They don't know how to slow the game down. Drew does. Then you've got Jeremy Grant reinvented as a super sixth man, leading the league in bench scoring. You've got Toumani Camara playing like an all-defense caliber forward who wakes up every day choosing violence on opposing wings. You've got Robert Williams III still capable of dropping 14 rebounds and 5 blocks in a spot start like it's nothing. This isn't one star and a bunch of filler. This is options. And options are how you survive an NBA season. Now let's talk about the stuff that makes this even more dangerous. Scoot Henderson hasn't even returned yet. The third overall pick from 2023 is still coming back from a hamstring injury. Before he went down, he showed real flashes, a 39-point eruption, and last season he averaged 14.2 over his final 35 games. So if you're Portland, you're looking at this roster and thinking, we're not even whole. And then there's Yang Hansen, the intriguing 7-footer they took 16th, sitting there like a chess piece you haven't used yet, and Dame. This part's emotional, because Dame is rehabbing an Achilles injury, but he's signed, and he's set for 2026 and 2027. So imagine this for a second. By 2026 to 2027, Portland could have Dame, Avdia, Klingon, Sharp, and the healthy Scoot on the same roster. That is not a joke. That's not maybe fun someday, that's a real lineup. Now let's not get delusional. Portland is 9-15 right now. They're not a contender. They're not a playoff team yet. They're still figuring out life under interim coach Tiago Splitter after Chauncey Billups was placed on leave in October. There's chaos behind the scenes. The rotation is still shifting. And yes, there are real problems. The biggest one is obvious. They can't shoot. 33% from 3. Dead last. In a league where spacing is basically oxygen, Portland is holding its breath and still trying to run. And the defense has slipped to 16th this year after that top 3 finish down the stretch last season. So it's not all sunshine. It's not all they're here. But here's the flip side. If you're this competitive while shooting dead last, what happens when the shots fall? Not lights out, not best shooting team, just normal. Because normal shooting plus Klingon's offensive boards is a math problem for opponents. Normal shooting plus Avdia's playmaking is a real offense. Normal shooting plus Sharp scoring off the bench starts looking like a playoff rotation. And that's why this is more than a feel-good story. Portland finally has an identity again. They have a rising star. They have a defensive anchor. They have real depth. They have veterans who actually affect winning. And they have young talent still wanting to join the party. This franchise hasn't made the playoffs since 2021. 4 straight years of lottery picks. 4 straight years of rebuild mode. They bottomed out. They traded away their franchise player. They started over. But this isn't the same team that dealt Dame. This is a team that found something in the wreckage. And now the rest of the West has to deal with it. Because the West is brutal. OKC, Houston, the Lakers, Denver, teams that aren't going anywhere. But for the first time in years, Portland isn't just hoping to be better. They're expecting to compete. So let me ask you. What do you think the ceiling is? Is this a team that sneaks into the play-in this season if the shooting stabilizes, or is this more of a next year is when it gets real story? And Avdia specifically, is he making an all-star team if he keeps this pace? Or does he get punished because Portland's record isn't pretty enough yet? Drop your thoughts. Because a year and a half ago, this franchise felt finished. Today, Avdia is putting up all-star numbers. Klingon is anchoring the paint. Sharp is a 90 million walking bucket off the bench. And the rest of the young core is still rising. This is not the same Portland Trail Blazers. And if you're still treating them like a bottom feeder, you're the one who hasn't been paying attention.